All right, we're all set. All right, we're there. We got Justin Cox and Greg Todd here, and we'll let Justin take it away. He's wanted to discuss goal setting tonight. I think it's a great topic.
Hey, thanks, Tom. So I'm Justin Cox. I'm on CoachCox.com, and thanks so much, Tom and Greg, for letting me pick tonight's topic. I really like it. I really like the idea of goal setting because that's one of those things I think, since it's one of our first group podcasts together, and goal setting is one of those first things you do with a new client. I thought it kind of fit pretty well. So, what do you guys think about goal setting, or how do you approach goal yourself, or what's your kind of take on that?
For me, it all depends on if I have a specific goal in mind. I mean, if I have say like right now, I told you last week that I'm getting ready for the Army 10 miler in October. So if I have a specific event like that, or where I need to set my goal and then work backwards from there, I do. But ordinarily, and I guess you could kind of say their goals. I have my kind of my benchmark workouts. One of them is 200 burpees. So I know, and I record each time, what my time is. I either see how fast I can do 200 burpees, or I take 20 minutes and see how many burpees I can do in 20 minutes. So I mean, to me, that's a goal because I'm always trying to improve on it. But I don't have a goal per se saying, by the end of 2015, I want to be able to do 300 straight burpees. But I do if I have something specific that comes up in mind, then I'll set my goals and work back from there.
Okay, so you like to think from the end goal and then backtrack, making your steps that way.
Correct. But again, only if I really have something I'm shooting for, and in this case, like the race. And something may come up at another time where I say, you know what, I want to do this, and I'll set that goal. And again, like we said, I'll set it for 6 months or a year or whatever, and then work my way back from there.
Okay. How about you, Greg? How do you like to set up your goals, or when you work with your clients, how do you set up their goals?
Well, so I do believe in reverse engineering, like what you guys have kind of talked about, and we got to look at the big goal first, and then we work our way back. At the end of the day, I feel like you have to get people engaged. So I probably, I'm a little bit different in that I have more physical therapy clients than I have fitness clients, but we probably spend, I've been a PT now for 15 years, and in the beginning, I probably spent about 2 to 3 minutes of every 45 to 60-minute consult on goals. Now I spend probably about a half of the time of the 45 to 60-minute consult on goals. And I think that's where, it's so important. This topic is money, like literally money, because if you're not in with what they want, you're not going to get. I mean, who cares what we want from them? It's all about what they want. So I find out from my clients: is it about weight? Is it about fitting in a dress size? Is it about completing a 5K or a 10 miler or a Tough Mudder or whatever? What is your end goal? And then I feel like our job as the professional is to show them, this is how we're going to do that. We have X amount of time. This is what your goal is. You never discredit their goals. This is what your goal is. This is the amount of time we have. This is what it's going to take in order for us to get there. And I think once you do that, you've already laid the groundwork as though, hey, my job is not to create your goals for you. Your job is to create whatever you want. My job is to show you how you can get there in X amount of time. Or sometimes, you might have to tell them that's not really possible. At least from my, that's not possible. But yeah, man, I'm totally with you guys. I really believe reverse engineering is the way to go. I mean, I do that not just with my fitness clients, and physical therapy, but even with my business goals. Everything is reverse engineered. It's okay. What do I want 3 years from now? Okay, then what do we have to do every year until then. Well, okay, what do we have to do 8 months, 6 months, 4 months, 2 months? What do we have to do this week to get to that? It works. It's just a matter of if you can stay on it, So, anyways, that's what I do.
I think you're right. I mean, obviously, you can't discredit a client and their goals. But I think a lot of times, too, you have to clarify them. If they come in and say, well, I want to lose weight, or I have a wedding next July, I want to lose weight for you. And you got to, really talk to them and find out, okay, why do you want to lose weight? What's going to happen when you get there? Yeah, you definitely have to make it clear in their minds. You can't just have some obscure goal. You have to concrete why you want this goal and what are you going to do to get there.
Right. I think the why. I think that's really important what you just said. I think the why is what I think that's what gets. I mean, goals are awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I think the why is what gets them to kind of dig into. Okay, this is what it's going to make me feel like. Because let's face it, to get up every day or to go train with us is not necessarily fun. You know what I mean? For any, at least in the beginning, when you're not like you're not seeing anything, everything's really hard. But I think the why is what gets people to realize, like, you know what? Okay, this is why I really want to do this. Yeah. Okay, maybe I want to lose 20, 30 pounds over the next 6 months or year. But why do you want to lose 20 or 30 pounds? Well, because I want to fit into a dress. Well, why do you want to fit into that dress? Well, because at that time when it makes me feel good. Okay, so why does that make you feel good? And if you continue just to probe into that, man, you can people can really get fired up about what they want to do. So yeah, I'm.
Greg, that's a huge money point right there. That's that why. That connects people to their goals, and that's a big thing. And when I had my studio, even when I do my online coaching now, it's you have to dig into that why really deep, just like you're talking about, because that, like you guys said, that really connects them to that goal, and they need to be connected, or we all need to be connected to our goals. Like you said, I want to lose weight for a wedding. Okay, stop eating sugar for a week. You're going to lose weight. I don't think that's really the end point you were looking at. Once you get into that why, you start digging into it, they start getting connected to it, and they start understanding, how much they are going to have to put into it.
Right.
One of the problems I used to run into, especially towards the end of the studio, there was I'd work with a lot of people who had kind of given up, so to say. The people come say, I don't even care if I lose weight anymore. I just want to, do this and do that and do this. And I found it was really more of a, a tried and failed, because like we've been talking about, when they try to reverse engineer their goals, they skipped a few steps, or they didn't reverse engineer at all, and they expect to go from step A to step D and completely miss. So that's a big thing with the reverse engineering, is to make it really clear, like you guys were kind of getting at, just how much we have to break it down, month by month, day by day, the little action steps that we need to do. And then getting away from that outcome-based, like, well, I want to be 10 pounds down, into, well, what are the actionable steps that we need to do to eventually reach that goal? And that switch that happens in there when you go from that outcome down to those action goals. Right. And that's always a big one I found too, is getting into action goals rather than, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds, or I want to lose this.
Right. It's funny that we're even talking about this right now, because today in one of my online, I did a video, and the video was about what I want for every client is basically to get to the point where they're using exercise as, like, in the same way that I'm using it. Like, I knew I had this call with you guys at 7, and I knew I wanted to feel great. Like, and so I actually already did a workout earlier, but I did a little, because whenever I exercise now, it's no longer, there's no weight goals anymore. You know what I mean? For me, it's having that feeling of empowerment. It's having that feeling of, every single time I, whatever, pop in a DVD or go to the gym or whatever, and do something productive and leave, it's a sense of accomplishment. And really, what I want for my goal, I don't know if it's the right thing to say to my clients, but this is what was in my heart. I'm like, my goal is for all of you to get addicted to that feeling of accomplishment every day, and that we're no longer using exercise really as, okay, because again, you hit, okay, so the wedding happens, now what? You know what I mean? They screw it all? No, like that's the addictive part for it. For me, I'm sure it is for you guys. It's that feeling of, oh man, that was awesome. Like I'm one step closer to being a better version of Justin, or a better version of Tom, or a better version of Greg by doing that. And that's what I told my clients today in my groups. Like, that's what I want for you guys. That's the end goal. That's the end goal. Like, I know you have your goal, that's cool, but the end goal is to get that feeling of accomplishment. Anyways, I was pretty fired up about it today.
Nothing wrong with that.
Forgive me.
And that's what I was going to say. Actually, a couple of things out of what you just said is I'm the same way with my exercise now, where I don't really have outside this race. This race is going to come and go, and then I will set another goal until probably I decide to do the race again next year. Mm-hmm. But I do have my benchmarks where my goal is really to continually improve upon my benchmarks. And right. I might do them again in 3 weeks. I might not do one of those benchmark workouts again for another 6 months. But like you said, I'm at the point where I know I want to improve consistently. I know what I have to do to improve consistently, and I can skip a workout here and there. But otherwise, I am completely committed to my workouts. If I'm supposed to be there in the morning, I'm there in the morning because I know where I want to go and where I want to be at continual improvement.
Right.
And then the second part, what you're saying is like, again, after, okay, say you want to, lose 50 pounds next year, it's definitely important to at least touch on, okay, what's next? What's going to happen when you reach that goal of losing 50 pounds? Maybe you do it in half the time. Are you just going to say, now what? And give up, or not give up, but just kind of, wander lost and end up gaining 25 back because you just don't have that same motivation. So you have to have your final goal, but at least have an idea of what you want beyond that. Okay, if I do reach my goal of 50 pounds, then I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to enter a powerlifting contest, or whatever. So you at least have an idea, and it may change, but at least you have an idea so that once you reach your goal, you don't just kind of wander and lose what you've already gained.
Tom, I was going to bring that same thing up. It's like, well, how do you guys transition your clients or yourselves into, we got to the wedding, well, now what? Or done the race, well, now what? Because I've experienced, both myself and with a lot of my clients, that drive, it's gone. That external motivator is gone now, so that internal motivation hasn't kicked in yet. How do you guys, motivate both yourselves and your clients into that continued program, that continued lifestyle?
Man, that's a loaded question. That's hard because but I'll tell you this. I will tell you this. With like physical therapy really is not a whole lot different with regard to the psyche of how things are with with fitness. It's like you come in, you break your ankle, right? Okay, like, all right, I want to walk again. Okay, the goals are clear. All right, I want to walk again. I want to be able to play soccer, whatever. But I really feel like the biggest thing is somehow, some way. I mean, if somebody said, Greg, what's the one thing that you've been able to do in your practices that has allowed you to hang around and thrive for the last 10, 11 years? People have to become addicted to the process. Now, so from a business standpoint, at least for me, because I have two offices, you try to make the environment addictive. You try to make, my place is like a club. I mean, I've got speakers and this and that. It's the atmosphere. The TVs are all on the wall, and so people come. People say that it's like Cheers. The show Cheers without the alcohol. That's what I have gone for, because now people don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. Like they're finding a way to come back. So people have to become addicted to the process, whether that's the environment that you're creating, whether that is, different motivating things that you have for them, to break it up. But somehow, some way, I mean, I think, and I'm not pimping CrossFit or anything like that, but I went to a CrossFit studio with my brother when I was down in South Florida. And he's this CrossFit junkie now, whatever. But now I truly understand why they are so successful. It's because the people are addicted to the culture, to the environment, to the everyday that, like, it's fun. It's not like pulling teeth over there. It's a hard workout. It's different. It's difficult, but it's the environment. It's the culture. It's almost like how you go to Starbucks. Yeah, it's coffee, but it's the experience. People go there for the experience, and I think that's how you keep people engaged. You have to create some type of experience to make them want to come even after their initial goal was set. Because let's face it, man, your why and your goals, they change all the time. It changes all the time. So I don't know, to me, and maybe that's just the business dude in me talking right now. I don't know, but I really think that's it. You're gonna have your internally motivated guys like yourself and Tom and whatnot, where you train for a 10-miler, or you train for, like I train for a marathon. Okay, the next day I'm still in pain and I'm already signed up for the next one. I mean, but let's face it, man, that's far and few between. Most people aren't like that. They're not wired like that.
Right.
So, why do people go to Jet games and go to Giant games when it's -2 degrees out there? It's because of the experience. Okay, it's not comfortable, and at least I talk as a Dolphins fan, we suck. Okay, but we go there for the experience. We go there.
You're a Dolphins fan living in Tampa? What's up for that?
Huh? What's that?
You're a Dolphins fan living in Tampa? What's up with that?
Well, I'm initially from South Florida. It's not like the Bucs are any better. I don't really have a choice here. Okay. All right. It's yeah. So, anyways. But basically, I don't know, man. I just feel like that is the thing. You got to create a great experience for them. And the end goal really is, it's not telling them this initially because it'll probably scare them off and they'll think we're freaks. But I really do think that the end goal is to get them addicted to the process, that they enjoy. That's why I think like these online training stuff, like what you're doing, I think it can be very powerful, because if you can create a community of people, your clients, and create a community, then they become reliant on each other, and you've created that community, and that's just one other way that people can get addicted to your process, and that will keep them there beyond their goals. So,
how about you, Tom? How do you like to transition your clients from the initial I need to get to a wedding versus I want to make this a lifestyle?
Now, I think kind of like what I like is, and I'm a ball buster. It's just my personality, So like I was saying, you talk about something going on afterwards or another goal afterwards. You find out what they like. Whether it's they like the weightlifting, they like feeling strong, whatever. So you kind of say, what, after you lose that 50 pounds, we're going to get you in a powerlifting contest. And they'll, yeah, whatever, And then just keep kind of implanting that in their mind, and then as they reach their goal or they get closer to their goal, keep bringing it up and say, okay, you've met your goal. Now what? Let's do it. You're ready. Let's hit that. Got a powerlifting contest, and I just picked powerlifting, out of the blue, but whatever, and say you can do it. You got 6 months, and we're going to get you trained, and there you go. You move into the transition into the next goal.
Okay, I started using a term probably about 5 years ago or so that I like to, with my clients, I like to tell them 6 weeks from anything. And so over the course of their initial goal, we start working into that process, making it a lifestyle sort of thing. And then, get them to a point where I say, you're 6 weeks from whatever you want. So we can continue our normal training, day in, day out, as it is, and keep it fun, keep it light. But then when you say you want to do a Tough Mudder, or you want to do a marathon, or this or that, we don't have to change everything. We just take the program you already have, specialize it for about 6 to maybe, and then boom, you're right into something else. So in that way, I noticed I felt like that became like a continued lifestyle for my clients. Like, oh, I can set another week or another goal 6 weeks out, or I can do this in a few weeks from now, rather than saying, oh wow, I need another 12 months to prepare for this next event, because it took them a good 6 to 8 to 12 months the first time. Start to get into this habit and then they come across a random new goal and say, oh, I want to do that in 6 weeks. it feels more immediate. I've noticed, both for myself and for my clients. Like, oh, I want to do this now. Cool. Let's just make minor tweaks to your current program and get you out there doing your next road race or whatever you want to do.
That's cool. I like that idea. That's nice.
Now, I found it really helped make it that lifestyle versus, oh, I have to have a new goal, or I can just add a new goal whenever I want because it's only 6 weeks away.
Mm-hmm. And I know, like when I was a trooper, same thing. I like how you put that, the 6 weeks, where as a trooper, I always had to be ready. And obviously, it's not possible to constantly be, the best you can be. But I try to maintain that all the time because, you never knew when you would need that. And I think you, Justin, mentioned something about, losing your way or something. After I retired, I kind of lost my way and lost my motivation because, I really didn't have that purpose anymore. And it took me a while before I even went to the doctor, to have my testosterone checked because I just didn't have the same drive that I had for a long time. And I looking back on it, that's what it was, is I kind of lost my way, and I really lost my purpose of why I wanted or why I needed to exercise. But somehow I
see that a lot with athletes too.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
When I finished college track, and I noticed a lot of the same athletes I was competing with, they gained a lot of weight, and a lot of them just started hitting the booze pretty hard because, well, they didn't have anything to do anymore. That since we were little kids all the way up until now we're 22, 23, 24 years old, right? We've been told how to exercise, when to compete, what to do day in and day out by all of our coaches, and now it's like, what now? That's always been external for us. It took me a good 3 years, I think, before I really found that internal drive to start working out for the sake of doing it rather than having to be an athlete anymore.
Right. Hey, you definitely lose that purpose, for whatever you're doing it for. So, I thought it was interesting what you said too, Greg, when you were discussing, or talking about creating the experience. It's really like you were talking about, your goals in addition to meeting your clients' goals, because part of, continuing your business is making it an experience to get them to keep coming back, but it also suits their goals because it keeps them coming back and it keeps them fit and healthy. Right.
It's just not always fun to be fit and healthy. And eventually, people see it. We're a reactive society, not a proactive society, at least right now. But obviously, fitness and nutrition is a multi-billion-dollar industry, so people are doing it. It's just a matter of it just seems like as you watch the successful people out there, that's what they've been able to do. They've been able to create some type of culture, some type of following within their little subculture, and people, just kind of hang around, and they continue to do it, And then, you have everybody's different, but I'm more like you, Tom. I like to have goals, same thing with Justin. I mean, I like to have, hey, there's something coming up, 2 months from now or 3 months from now, whatever it is. It might not even be an event, for me all the time, but sometimes I'll just do before pictures and say, I want to see what I can do in 2 months. And do before pictures and before measurements or whatever. But just some people, they're just not wired like that. And I think that's actually more people than not. So we got to figure out a way to get them too, because they need it. They need it just like how we need it.
Do you think, you say they're not wired like that, do you think it's something that's trainable, or do you think that sometimes they're just not meant for it?
I mean, I think everybody's meant to do something. I just think that some people, they can flip a switch, and some can't. Some don't have a switch to flip. They just don't have it. But they'll do it. And I guess the reason why I come at it like that, why I truly think everybody can do it, is because being a therapist, I have seen so many people that have never exercised a day in their life break their arm, have a fall, break their hip, tear their ACL, never exercise at all in their life. And when they are put behind the 8 ball, when something happens, they step up because they have to, right? Like, okay, fine, you don't want to move your arm. Okay, well then you're just not going to have an arm to move. Like you don't even have to motivate them. It's the craziest thing. That's why I know everybody can do it. Now, some of us have a switch. Obviously, you guys do, but some of us don't. But if you put people in that situation, put them in the hole, they find a way to get out. And that's why I just believe that everybody can be helped. I've seen it. I've seen people 60 plus years old who said they've never exercised a day in their life, and they have been at my office for 3-4 years now because of an awful catastrophic injury that basically made them have to do something, and then from there they already created now this routine. They now enjoy the process, the environment, and they decided to take control of their life with exercise. I know it can happen. I know it can.
Greg, that's a real interesting way to interpret that. I've kind of seen that too, but I've never interpreted it that way. That's really interesting. What I've seen is like a lot of people, like Tom and myself and you, we can handle the setbacks, it seems like, or the mini failures, or when it doesn't go our way, we understand that's part of the process. From what I've seen is that the other group of people, they can't handle that as well. They see those failures as big things, as program ruining. And I've found personally is setting actually smaller goals, smaller and smaller and smaller, to avoid those failures has been the most productive in my practice. But no, I've never interpreted it that way. That's a interesting way to interpret that.
I think even, last year there's a home program called a 21-day fix, and anyways, it basically broke all these records of like the highest sold home nutrition program, fitness, whatever, basically beat out like P90X in like the first 3 months. It just destroyed. And you know what I think what it was with it? It was called 21-day fix.
Instead of 90 days, right?
Exactly. It's called a 21-day fix, and that's why when you said that thing about the 6 weeks, gosh, that's so good. Maybe even, I'm like, man, that's awesome. Maybe even bring it down to 3 weeks. Like everything, break it down into smaller goals so that those people that are not like us, that don't have that switch, that it's right there. Like the fruit's right there. It's right there. I can get it. I can see it. We can't see it. If you can have something 4 or 5 months out, but you have enough belief in yourself, in your body, and in the process that because let's face it, you've been in the game for a long time. You understand that. But somebody that hasn't, if they can't see the fruit, they're like, there ain't no fruit there. There's nothing there. I can't do this. This hurts. I'm going home. Give me the chips. Right? Hell with this crap. So it's just, yeah, man, it's really important. It's just understanding that, and really, I just think just understanding that people are different, man. They're just different, and you just got to be able to, if you want to work with a lot of people, and for me, at least at this point in my career, where I'm at, I have a pretty big staff, and I need to cater to a lot of people. So you just got to understand them and understand what is it that drives people, and it's fun, if God forbid one of you guys hurt yourself. But if let's just say you hurt yourself and you live in Tampa, I would love to work with you guys. You guys are internally driven. It's awesome. That'd be great. But
I tell you what, Greg, I'll drive down from northern Minnesota to Tampa just for you.
No,
but not till January.
Don't do that. And don't hurt
Not
yourself.
till January.
Got plenty of people to take care of. But no, man, it's great, but it's just not, at least for me, it's not the it's just not a lot of people. Not a lot of people are like that, So and you know what? The cool thing, I'll say this. I'll say one other thing, and then I'll shut up. But one of the cool things about people that are maybe not as internally motivated, don't have a history in athletics like you guys. The really cool thing is that, like, they trust you. Like, if you can get them to flip, they know they don't know anything, right? So it's actually really cool because you have other problems with those when I'm working on the tennis tour or whatnot, I mean, at this point, yeah, I've worked with people long enough that, I don't get questioned as much. But I remember early on in my career, man, people used to question everything I do. Like, oh, it's like so draining. So yes, they're internally motivated, but gosh, they're a pain in the butt to work with sometimes. So, I think there's good and bad with, all different types of clientele. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents.
I like what you were saying too, Justin, with talking about the shorter goals, and I think we might have even touched on it last week. But the example I want to use is, I'm a firearms instructor, and so I mean, okay, so the goal with the handgun is to shoot. Part of the qualification is to shoot from 25 yards. So for some reason, we start trying to teach people to shoot from 25 yards, but it's difficult to hit the target. So instead, what you do, instead of starting at 25 yards, just start at 3 yards, where it's impossible to hit or miss the target. All right, give them that confidence. So they've never shot a gun before. You teach them to shoot, boom, they're hitting the target every time. You move them back, 2 steps to 5 yards, and then to 15 yards, and then by the time you get to 25 yards, they're hitting the target consistently. I think that's very similar to what you said with the smaller goals, the week-long or 2-week-long goals. But will definitely work.
Exactly. I got that a lot from John Berardi in his precision nutrition program, and that's the big thing they talk about there in the entire coaching is, we're going to make that goal, and we're going to make that goal easier and easier and easier until you're 100% confident that you can accomplish it. Because once you're confident 100% and you're excited about it, you're going to do it. And so if my goal is to get you to drink a gallon of water a day, right, and you can say you only 100% confident you can drink a quart of water a day, well, then we're going to start with a quart of water a day. And we're going to keep working at it until you eventually do hit that gallon of water and make it as easy as possible, because that gallon might seem overwhelming, and that causes a lot of dropout when you get that overwhelming. And when I read that from them, or when I started going through that stuff, that was a huge turning point in the way I approach a lot of my clients. Awesome. But one of those big things with because you guys are kind of hitting on it versus external motivation there. I mean, in all of our coaching scenarios, Tom, with the bodyweight groups and stuff you do with Greg and the physical therapy and Meet the Online Coaching, is at some point I got to say, hey, I can't be there today. You have to go do this on your own, and that's when that internal motivation kicks in. How do you get your guys or your clients to do that? I mean, that's something I know that I've always struggled with. I think every trainer I've ever talked with has struggled with, is getting people motivated to do it when nobody's watching them. And can't talk about the people who are self-motivated, because they're already doing it. They're doing it on their own. They're coming like 7 days a week, right? But how do you get your clients to go do the stuff on their own when they don't want to?
Hey, I've always said I'm not the kind of person that yells and says, do this, do this, do this. But I'm the kind of person that if I didn't put my all into it for a workout, I'm not feeling it, I'm kind of dogging it. I get in the car to go home, and I'm mad at myself. And that's what I've always told them, is that, that's how I want you to be, because I'm not going to be there all the time. You have to want it for yourself. You want to hate it so much that, if you walk out the door and get in your car to go home, you're not saying, I could have done more. So you got to think about that before you come in here and say, I'm not going to regret anything when I walk out the door. I'm going to give it my all for 45 minutes, and I'm going to be happy when I walk out that door. And I think that's, what I've always tried to do is, again, try to get them, try to kick the bird out of the nest. I'm not always here for you. You need to take over and pick up your own motivation and want to perform, want to succeed at the end of the workout.
One of the things that I do for all of my fitness clients on their intake form is I ask them, what is the best way for us to support you? And I will, it's either text messaging, email, my personal website private forum, or Facebook private groups. So basically, all of my groups, pretty much 90% of my fitness clients are online, and the other 10% come to our fit clubs at my office Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? So I am supporting most of those people have the option of dogging it or they have the option of doing it. And so I basically just use technology to support people. That's really it. And if the person wants to, work in a Facebook private group, well, then they're going to get put in that Facebook private group, and their responsibility is to, to comment, to post, when they finish a workout, take a picture of themselves or whatever. And basically, I give prizes at the end of, whether it's every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. I give a prize for, participation. And those little things kind of drive people to post and to do those type of things. Like right now, we're doing a dance program, right? And that's the popular thing right now. It's, again, drawing in a whole different demographic of people that I haven't drawn in before. So, they'll take their phone and they'll video themselves dancing, and they get, a certain amount of points for that. And at the end of the program, whoever has the most points, the top 3 people that have most points, are getting nice prizes. So it keeps the engagement high. That's for Facebook, and some people like email, so shoot them over an email once or twice a week or whatever. You can do email campaigns that you can set up for people and just have it automated, and there's many of them out there that are free. So you just got to find out what works for people, and with technology, you can support people. You still can't do it for them. Can't do it for them either way. People no show to your appointments anyways. If they want to dog it, they're gonna dog it. But if you give them little nuggets and little things, some people that makes a difference for some. So basically, the answer is I use technology. I use technology to support those people that I can't see in person.
Do you have them prove their goals, like through video or pictures, or you just when they say, "Hey, look, Greg, I lost 50 pounds, outstanding"?
Every client that I have, as I said, I have them fill out their intake forms, and basically, 9 out of 10 people. Well, I always encourage every client before I start a new group. I always encourage every client to take before, and I actually do a video showing how to take before and after photos. How the areas I want them to measure in their body, how to do it by themselves. They don't have to do it, but I don't want the scale to be the slave. I just don't want it, because it's just we know that's not a good idea.
I agree with you.
So basically, I have them do all those things, and a goal that's not measured is not real. So I want whatever it is that I can use to keep them in the game, to keep them going. Okay, cool. All right, you didn't lose a pound, but you lost 3 inches, in the last 2 weeks, or whatever. And you can do that in many different ways. You don't have to see them one-on-one all the time. It's, I just came up with this scenario, like, even if I did, is that possible? Like, for me, it's not. I can't. I cannot, with 4 kids, a wife, with what I have, I cannot do it. Even if the perfect scenario, if I had 35 clients a week, I would shoot myself. I couldn't do it. So this is how I have to do it for me. But that's just my situation because of where I'm at right now in my life. But maybe 10 years from now, maybe I'm not going to want to do this anymore. But right now, it's actually pretty cool, and it works. It works pretty good. It works pretty good.
And when I talk about goals, I keep saying like 50 pounds. And I've always said it that, I measure, especially for me, performance. I always say performance over appearance, because it's more measurable. Like you said, we can, you want to say you're going to lose 50 pounds, but that's hard to do if you're exercising and gaining muscle at the same time. Even though you're improving and looking better, you don't want to get depressed because you've only lost 25, even though you've completely changed your body. So, my goals are always performance-based. How many push-ups can you do now? How many push-ups could you do? With my groups, I do, a 10-minute max of push-ups. It's not one set of push-ups, but okay, 10 minutes. Here we go. As many as you can do in 10 minutes. You take your rest, you take your breaks, But at the end of 10 minutes, we want to know how many push-ups you can do, how many squats you can do in 10 minutes, or like similar to CrossFit, you take your 3 exercises and you do a circuit in a certain amount of time, or a certain number of circuits in a set amount of time. So my goals have always been performance-based. I just think it's too hard to say, I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to add inches, or whatever. It's too subjective, and it's too hard to chase that, and not, even though you may have reached it, you haven't reached it in your mind. You can't see it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Every time the Olympics comes around, they always show this picture of all the of athletes from all the different sports, in their shorts or in their undergarments and whatnot. And it's always the highlight, that physique doesn't always equal performance, because at that high level, even though they're the top athletes in the world right now, a lot of them don't have the bodies you'd expect from high-level athletes.
Because those are the ping pong players, Justin.
That's funny.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
You're
but,
absolutely
they're
right.
definitely built athletes, but you a lot of them don't have the six-pack that you'd expect, or they look different than what media tells us athletes should look like.
Absolutely.
And just like you're talking about, it's performance and body fat percentage are not the same thing. And they overlap a lot, yes, but they don't equal the same thing. And training for those goals is a very different animal.
So I completely agree with you with the body types. That it's deceptive.
Mm-hmm. Even bodybuilders admit that when they're on stage, looking, at that 3% body fat and looking as shredded as they can, that is the worst time in their training cycle for them. That's when they're the weakest. That's when they feel the worst. That's when their numbers are the worst compared to the rest of the time.
Right.
I think that's just the things that what you have said, Justin, in the last 5 minutes or so, and what Tom said. I think that is what I truly feel like that's what your value is. I really, we have a lot of value, but I feel like the true value of a fitness professional is some of those liquid gold comments that you just said, and explaining that to clients and making them understand that, because you get it, but they don't. So I think that's what I have realized. I had an intern yesterday, and they said, "What is your biggest attribute as a therapist?" I said, "I can answer questions. That's what I do for a living. I answer questions." And that's great stuff, man. That's what people are looking for, is explaining that to them, explaining that to the average Joe. Look, not all about this. It's there's other aspects, and just opening people's mind. Yeah, man, you can do 10 more push-ups in 10 minutes than what you did 3 weeks ago. And those, and pointing those things out to them.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's not what we're trained to do as the average client. We're trained to look at the scale and the scale only, or what I see in the mirror, and we know just what's going on in your head and what you see in the mirror. We don't even want to trust that, because you're not in the right place. Period. So those things are so important, and I think that really is what our value is as a fitness professional. I really, really feel like that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's a great way to put it. We have to compete with ourselves and reach our own goals.
Right. That's another thing. The comparing across the classroom, I used to call it, or comparing to your first day Joe, and you want to compare yourself to 3-year Bob. Well, you guys are not the same people. You have no business trying to compare your workout or your body fat or your weight or whatever to someone who's been in the program for months and years. And it's your first day or your first week, or things like that. That cross-room comparison. I had to fight that a lot when I had my studio. That was always a big problem for people.
I think too, we've gotten to this point with the magazines, especially women, they look and they bring a picture and say, you know what, I want to look like her. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you lose 50 pounds and you have 3% body fat. Your body doesn't look like hers. You know, I mean, me personally, I have a very small waist. You know, if another guy wanted to try to say, you know, I want a little waist like you, yeah, but the problem is your bones are this wide. It has nothing to do with the amount of fat. You know, I could have, 4 inches of fat around me and still have a smaller waist when you have, 2% body fat because we're built differently. You know, you have to do the best you can do and accept your body when you end up that way. Because my body isn't like yours, Justin's, and my body is not like yours, Greg's, and it never will be, no matter what any of us try to do.
I mean, key point when I did a photo shoot a while ago, and I had veins in my lower abs, and I mean I was looking really lean. I still had between a 36 and a 38-inch waist.
Right.
I mean that's sitting right on the bone even, and yeah, I'm never gonna have that tapered ice cream cone look. Ever.
Right. And I think especially women need to realize that because, they have these, pictures in their minds, probably because of the media and, whatever, but they're never going to look like certain other people. It's just physically impossible because, like you said, you'll just never get down to a 30-inch waist because your bone structure doesn't fit it.
We have about what looks like about 10 minutes or so left here. And since we're talking about goals, one of the things I really want to make sure that we talk about when it comes to goals is rewards for goals. Because rewarding yourself is one of those big things. I mean, we learned that from day one with coaching for goals and setting goals. You always set these little rewards here, bigger rewards, and then your final rewards. What I found, I used to run a lot of contests at my studio. They bring a lot of people in. I'd have great participation for the 6, 8, 12 weeks, whatever my contest was, and then we give away the cash prizes or whatever I give. I think my biggest one I gave away a $2,000 grand prize, for this small challenge. But it happened every single time. It's like the week after that challenge was over, half my studio was empty. And I kind of caught on that pattern was happening, and I actually read in a psychology article one time about the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic goals and how a lot of times when you take away your extrinsic goal, i.e. I paid out the money for the challenge, people's motivation goes away because it's all tied extrinsically. I was wondering have you guys experienced the same things? How do you work around that, or I just want you guys' opinion on that.
I've never really used prizes or contests like that.
I have. Okay. We've done just within our office. We've done prizes like that. We've done like Biggest Loser type of challenges, type of thing and whatnot, and that's exactly what typically happens. You finish it, and then everybody just kind of falls off the wagon or whatever. I just go back to the thing of, I think I have extrinsic goals in my challenge groups and in my online groups, but they're very small. It's really more goals to participate and not to win. The end goal. And you see what I'm saying? It's really to engage them, and then what I'm hoping is that from the engagement, it creates community, and then from the community, it creates, I don't want to stop this. I don't want to stop this group. I want to keep going.
You don't set an end point.
Huh? What's that?
You don't set an end point.
Every group does have an end point, but the whole idea is that it's almost like, here, I'll tell you like this. I use my groups like you're training for your 10-miler. Okay? The groups are anywhere between 30 to 60 days. And it creates, because what happens is if it just keeps on lagging on, people just get disengaged. So every group has a theme. There's small little extrinsic goal or extrinsic, rewards, but it's for participation, not for winning. And the whole idea is my goal in every group is to create an online community of people that are now rooting for each other. Right? Not comparing, but rooting. and then it creates a family-like atmosphere. And then that can go over into my next themed group 30, 60 days from now. And we change, so it's almost like, okay, well, we're not doing a 10-miler anymore. Now we're going to train for, the Twin Cities half marathon, okay, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just along those lines to keep people engaged. So, that's how I do it.
Okay.
I think one of you made a good point too. That I think anyway, either one of you, once that challenge or the contest is over, you lose out, and it's funny because I'm sure you've seen it in your employment. Every year, a group of people get together and have the biggest loser contest. See who can lose the most weight. But it's the same people every year. And if they had continued on from the start, they wouldn't be back in it the next year.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's those people I was talking about.
Exactly. Year after year, it's the same person who keeps winning the contest, but he's not losing any weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for some people, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say for people who are watching this, right now or in the future, if you're going to reward yourself for a goal, definitely money is one of those no-nos. That seems to be one of those big instant demotivators, and really choose those rewards for yourself really carefully, because they can, if you choose something wrong, it can really detract from the whole point of why you set the goals in the first place. So that's one of those big takeaway points I really want to make sure we hit before we wrap it up here.
Awesome. Yeah. Completely agree with you. All right, you guys want to wrap it up then?
Yeah, well, about 4 or 5 minutes or so, or whatever. I do have a training session after this, but
okay.
I'm not too worried.
All right.
No, it was actually really cool. That was good stuff, and it's just so cool to hear. I guess the one thing from it is that I feel as though there's as much of head games going on with our clients as there is, the physical, and I think it's a fantastic subject, for you to talk about, because if you don't lock into them in some way, you're screwed. They're not going to be around,
Right.
So anyways, thank you for your little nuggets and your tips and tricks, guys. I appreciate it. I think I might take a couple back.
Perfect.
So, no, that was great stuff. That was great.
Yeah, and thanks, Justin, for picking the topic. It is like you said, it's a great way to start things off.
No, thank you guys. I learned a ton tonight. I didn't even have to share that much. I just was sitting here and taking it all in. Thanks you guys so much for rocking out with me tonight.
Hey, I just have to say something real quick. When I was on vacation, I had the first one that we did, Tom. I had a few people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I listened to this fitness talk you did with some guy in New York, and it's very interesting what you guys are talking about." And I think the first one we were talking more just about our kind of like what we do or whatever, and
kind of our philosophy.
I actually had I think 4 people reach out to me. I just got back to them. I told my wife I wasn't gonna respond back to too much people while I was away, but yeah. So people, it looks like they're watching.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping the more we do, the more people are going to find them, and I'll put on next week's. I'll start it tomorrow and get it on there, so people can find it on Google if they come across it. No, that's very interesting to hear. I'm great feedback.
Yeah.
And I think next week, everybody good with talking about mindset, mental strength.
That's fine.
Good topic. All right.
I like mindset. That's a good one.
All right. And I kind of the reason why I've come across it is because I started thinking it's just recently that there's so much information on the internet, so much free information, and great information, and why people aren't successful in their fitness programs. And I think a lot of it comes down to they don't know how to they don't have a strong mind. Not that they can't have one, they can't develop it, but they just don't know how to work out hard enough in order to achieve the results.
That will take the full hour.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yep. We're talking a lot.
Maybe a part 2.
I'll be well rested for that one.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Great talking with you guys, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
You guys have a great night.
All right, take care.